everyone. I hope the drasha for this week finds you well, and nice to be able to talk to you, albeit from a distance, as we strive for connection with one another. I know that this Shabbos is not Hanukkah, but I figured we would take the opportunity to talk about Erev Shabbos, which is Hanukkah, and certainly is my hope that people will be seeing this while it's still Hanukkah. And I want to talk about the name Hanukkah, the word Hanukkah. Perhaps most famously, the etymology, the connotation is Chanukah. Try to understand the word, try to understand where it comes from, because there are a lot of different explanations. Chanu, Machaneh, rest, the military soldiers of the Hashmonayim, as they were defending the Jewish community against the mighty Greek army, they rested. When did they rest? Kaf He, on the 25th of Kislev. So that is one explanation of the name Hanukkah. And certainly for us, we want to make sure that we rest to commemorate their resting, in the sense, rest for the purpose of reflection, rest for the purpose of recognizing the miracle that took place. That's what they were reflecting on, without question, that what they had just experienced against long odds, being able to overcome the great obstacle that was the weaponry and the military prowess of their adversaries. Another explanation, and perhaps there's a connection between the chen, the grace, that's what the word means, chet nun, and that you have a grace that was able to be found by our ancestors. It was bestowed upon them, this mercy, this compassion, because of a certain chen, as the Almighty looked at them, seeing that they were worthy of not being thrown out of Israel, this generation, these leaders, but of being victorious here during the time of Hanukkah. And certainly on Hanukkah, we want to have that same definition. We want to be seen by the Almighty in that same light, with this kind of chen. Ultimately, though, we know that Hanukkah was the time of the reestablishment, the ability to inaugurate anew, using pure olive oil, the Beis Hamikdash and the Mizbeach, and Chanukah, Chanukas Habayis, Chanukas Beis Knesses, Chanukas Hamizbeach, Chanukas Beis Hamikdash, means initiating, establishing, having this renewed fortifying, if you will, as the Gemara tells us that they were able to do. And it's about dedicating ourselves, celebrating dedication, dedicating ourselves to the light of Torah as represented by the menorah. So that Chanukah is Chanukas, that this Chanukas is a dedication of this time on the calendar, dedication, rededication of our values and principles, just like they rededicated the Beis Hamikdash, the structure. We realize our identity is not just tied to a structure, but it's a body of faith and emunah, and that we ourselves as individuals and as a community and as a global Jewish community dedicate ourselves anew this time of year, every single year, to the principles that were fought for so many years ago, and that how the holiday represents the perseverance of our faith, and that is Chanukah, dedication. So far we have Chanu, Chaf He, resting the 25th, this idea of chen, of grace, and the Chanukah in the full sense of the word, Chanukas, a dedication. In addition, when we're talking about the Greeks, and we're talking about the second Beis Hamikdash, and we realize that the second Beis Hamikdash was able to continue because of the miracles of Hanukkah. So we think to ourselves that it's not just a dedication, but it's also the continuation of the second Beis Hamikdash, as we're told. But there's an earlier version of this. Chanukas HaMizbeach is actually referenced in the Torah itself, long before the story of Hanukkah. So we're told that there was some consternation when it came to Aharon, when it came to Moshe's brother. And his frustration was that he wasn't a part of the original dedication of the Mizbeach. You know, the tribe of Levi and the Kohanim were different than the rest of the people. And there were certain responsibilities that didn't belong to them. And it gives us a moment to maybe reflect on the fact that Jews have different responsibilities, whether you're from the tribe of Levi or elsewhere. But everybody plays a role. And indeed, we're told that, in a sense, Hashem had in mind, whatever this might mean, that Aaron's descendants, these Kohanim, Judah the Maccabee, and the Kohanim who led the revolt against the Greeks during the holiday of Hanukkah, he would be given the opportunity through them, through his ancestors, to be a part of setting up the Beis HaMikdash, which is, of course, the version of the Mishkan that was in Israel. And we're told historically that if we look at the calendar, the original Chanukas Mizbeach took place in Kislev. The tabernacle was actually finished. It was not inaugurated until Nisan, but Kislev is when the Mishkan is finished. And this is also this time of year in terms of understanding Chanukah and where Chanukah comes from. And this next idea comes from the Avud Raham and others as well, an important Spanish rabbinic authority from the Middle Ages, a Rishon. And if I wouldn't have read it from the Avud Raham, I wouldn't have believed it, how he understands the word Chanukah and why we have the name of our holiday as it is. And he explains that it's a reference to a dispute in the Gemara. And the Gemara says that there were two schools of thought represented by Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai lit 8 lights on the first night, and on the last night he lit 1. Beis Hillel lit 1 candle on the first night, and on the last night he lit 8. And he says Chanukah is an acronym, says the Avud Raham. An amazing source. He says the reason why it's called Chanukah is that we remember this dispute in the Gemara, and that we are of the school of thought that increases a candle for every night, like the school of Hillel, Beis Hillel. And Chanukah stands for Ches Neiros, 8 candles, V'halacha, and that's the Vav, and V'halacha, the law is Ki Beis Hillel, like Beis Hillel. So that is Ches, Nun, Vav, Chaf, Hey, and that's the etymology and the understanding of the word in our lexicon that you and I are so familiar with, known as Chanukah. So we should know what we're talking about when we discuss the holiday and where the name Chanukah itself comes from. And lastly, I shouldn't be lost on us as well that the word Chanukah has a relationship. It has the letters connected to chinuch, and chinuch means education, and chinuch means being brought along in terms of experiences and developing ourselves in terms of our Jewish identity. And we're all students, regardless of our age. And Chanukah teaches us about who we are and how tough we have to be and how strong we have to be in terms of sticking to our faith, even when external factors and influences lurk and many people might have an opinion about our faith. We recognize that it has been a timeless tradition and a valuable tradition that has been a part of us forever, and its longevity is large part connected to the power that exists in its authenticity. And using modern Hebrew to help us connect to the word, relatedly, we think of the word in Israel, chanicha, and we think that a chanicha, is an initiation. We're being initiated. We're being initiated as Jews, being initiated to the fact that we have an oral tradition and that there's a holiday that we celebrate in which we try to maximize our potential, and they, just like they were so careful to have pure oil, we try to have a purity as we rededicate ourselves this time of year. And a chanich in modern Israel is a person who's being trained. We are apprenticing for a position. What is that position? Being ambassador of the Torah. We celebrate Hanukkah, we are ambassadors of the Torah. We publicize the miracle. We showcase that we are different and we stand for values and principles and a system of mitzvos that aren't a part of the definition of the other nations of the world. And we go through the exercise of lighting Hanukkah candles because that is related to our chanicha experience. And as we practice these mitzvos and we say a bracha before we do the mitzvah, recognizing that it's a privilege that we cannot just do, but we say the blessing before we light the menorah. So this experience, this exercise, the hallow that we do, in a small way, it captures who we are and encapsulates Judaism as a whole. And we think to ourselves, a small microcosm, that we have these unique blessings, and we say thank you for these blessings. And Hanukkah is this training experience, as per the word, as it's used today in Israel and throughout the time as part of this ancient holy language, the Lashon HaKodesh of Hebrew, and the insight that comes with that. At Hanukkah, and we're being initiated, we're being readied for the purpose of representing our culture, our Torah HaKadosha, the holiness that comes with who we are. And that's why we were motivated during the times of Hanukkah. That's why we were able to endure, and that's why we will do so again today, despite many challenges. So everybody have a wonderful Shabbos and a happy end to your Hanukkah, you and your loved ones. All the best.